Welcome to Film Live, the show that takes you behind the scenes of the filmmaking journey. I'm your host, Leanne Collinson, and today we're going to be speaking with Carolyn Combs about women in film and TV, their role, and how it's changing. So thank you so much for being on Film Live, Carolyn.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
No, that's awesome. And yeah, if anybody on our live streams has got any comments, please give us a comment on Facebook or on YouTube, because that's where we're live right now. And yeah, I'm going to do my best to get in and ask as many as possible. So Carolyn, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you got into film and TV?
Okay, sure. Originally in my career, I wasn't going to go into film. It was something that I came to later in life. I actually studied theater first and education, and was doing a lot of teaching. When filmmaking became digital and much more accessible, I decided that I wanted to teach myself filmmaking. And I rented a camera and made a short documentary. It was called Stories of the Diner. It was a portrait of a short order cook. And yeah, I loved making that film. And it was the research component of the film that drew me to filmmaking, using the filmmaking process to learn about the world, to learn about the characters. I interviewed a lot of people in the diner and learned about their relationships and how those were shaped by their social contexts. And that's what's interested me and made me keep coming back and making more films.
What were the roles like for women when you first started? Were, I suppose, as varied as what they are now, do you think?
I mean, when I first started, I was not very aware of many other women filmmakers at all. We saw them mostly as performers and office positions, coordinator positions. And that is something that is changing. But back then, there were very few women, and it is something that hopefully is changing.
And how do you see it changing? So you're saying you're hoping that it will change. How do you think it can change?
There has been for many, many years several groups of women demanding change and working towards change, which has been very positive. And with the Me Too movement, there's a lot of public awareness. Here in Canada, we are beginning to see policy reforms happen so that there are gender equity requirements for funding. We're hoping to see changes in the tax credit, so there are gender equity requirements in the distribution of the labor tax credit. We have seen more women clustered in the producer role, and we are beginning to see more women as directors and writers. They are, however, clustered in the low budget. We still have a long way to go, particularly in terms of cinematographers and composers.
So there are a lot of roles out there that I suppose in the past you haven't seen as many broadcast roles, and I suppose women didn't think that they could do them. So I know that you're based in Canada, and you've got the film Bella Ciao, and that is a Canadian-based film, very much Vancouver, and there's a lot of strong female leads in that film. I think we'll just take a look at that trailer now just to show the audience, and we'll ask you about it if that's okay, Carolyn.
Okay, sure.
But if you take 2 jobs, who's going to look after your mother?
If I don't take 2 jobs, who's going to look after my mom?
Don't you think people change after having gone through experiences like her? I mean, do you think they look at authority and life the same way?
The treatments? She stopped them.
So how did you convince them that you were a refugee?
I don't like how you phrase that.
Where's she now?
Maybe here. maybe not.
You don't enjoy your past. You deny it.
That's not true.
Ever heard of Allende?
No.
Soledad. Soledad.
I wanna see you, see the light in you.
So one thing that's awesome about this trailer is that it is very commercial drive. I can hear the sirens actually. That's very Vancouver with the sirens going past in a very high pitch. I can hear the sirens at your end. But it is very commercial drive, Vancouver. So can you tell me what the development process was like, and why you decided to base the film in Vancouver?
Okay, sure. We actually wanted to make a film about our neighborhood, the Commercial Drive neighborhood in East Van. We were, when I say we, I mean me and the writer. And when we originally started developing the script, there was another writer involved as well. His name was Jeremy Waller. And so the three of us, Jeremy Waller, Michael Springate, and myself, began to develop this film that we wanted to be about our neighborhood in East Van. It was a very dynamic, colorful neighborhood. And we began doing research about the neighborhood, who actually lived there, what are the relationships between the different communities. There are large populations of people from the Latin American community, the Indigenous community, and the Italian community there on Commercial Drive. So our characters are people from those communities. Our characters are based on real people who you would meet along the drive. And the development process was long, and we worked with actor table reads at a few times over the years, which has been a very wonderful process. Some of the cast who eventually were involved in the film when we shot were also involved in the development process and in the actor table reads. Carmen Aguirre, who plays Constanza, was with us at the first table read, and she, as well as Tony Nardi, were influential in the development of the script. And the community became very supportive of the piece, and eventually we were able to get it off the ground with a lot of support from the community.
Based film. I know that there's a couple of charities involved as well, and I know that you're very, I suppose you're well known for your strong character and sensitive character leads. Can you tell us a little bit about Bella Ciao as a story and what the story is about?
Okay. As I mentioned, it is a story about the drive, about the neighborhood, about the people who live there. The main story is between Constanza and her daughter. Constanza is a Chilean refugee who moved to Vancouver after the coup in Chile. So it's a story that speaks to how community falls apart, reshapes itself, comes together, falls apart, comes together. It's a film about solidarity, how solidarity is passed from one generation to the next. It's about the unexpected, how people are not always what they seem to be, and how moments of beauty and joy are often found in the unexpected. And one thing that was important to me to portray in this film was compassion, was people treating each other with compassion. It's something that we don't see a lot of in mainstream movies and in television, and it was important to me to show a community with people who cared about each other.
Yeah, and Commercial Drive is very international. It's a great street. I know I've been on quite a few parties, street parties, and I know that you've got the band in there as well that just randomly goes down the street. It's great.
And they're absolutely for real, that band, you know, and they surprised me when I first came across them. They just, you know, they start marching down the street. And there they are. You know, it's a lovely surprise, that band, and I was so happy that they agreed to be in the film.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. And you were originally going to have a theatrical release, that's right, isn't it? And then you've switched to a digital release. Was that always the intention, or is that adapted because of the current climate with the pandemic?
Yes, that's certainly an adaptation. The film was scheduled for a theatrical release. It had a run at the Van City Theatre here in Vancouver, which was fantastic, and the Carnival Band played for the opening night premiere, which was lovely. And then it screened at the Rio here in Vancouver, and it screened at the Cinematheque in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
It was scheduled to open at the Carlton Theatre in Toronto for April 17th, but of course the theatre closed, and we have moved to a digital release. We are working with Real Causes, as you know, and Real Causes had also been an organization that screened films theatrically. And when I noticed that they had moved online, it just seemed like a great partnership to work with them for the digital release. So we're really happy to have partnered with them. Yeah.
No, it is. It's really good that you're able to adapt, and yeah, that digital release is that came out yesterday. Am I correct with the date?
Yeah, that came out yesterday. You can watch it now.
Brilliant. That's
Buy your
awesome.
ticket now.
So we'll put a link in the description. So if anybody wants to download the film, we'll send people to your page, to the homepage of Bella Ciao. And you, the executive director of the Women in Film and Television Vancouver, and you run the festival each year, or you help to direct the festival each year. And can you tell us what makes a good film to be able to get on that festival circuit?
What makes a good film? I mean, our films that are created by women. 3 of the key creative roles need to be filled by a woman to get into our festival. We look for films with strong female leads that break boundaries, that speak to the communities that we have in Vancouver. We want to show a diversity of voices and speak to the diverse audience that we have in Vancouver. So we screen a variety of films, documentaries, features.
We've actually got one of your films that we could show the trailer of. So we've got Red Snow that we could show the trailer of. Now this got into the festival, so it'd be really good just to show the audience. So we'll just show the trailer of that.
Okay.
Just taken in Panjwai.
Movement, roof!
In an ambush.
Contact!
Now being held captive by the Taliban.
You are a spy.
I should have killed you when I had the chance.
You're an American.
Canadian.
You're all the same.
Protecting my country.
You are on my land. Protecting your country. Who's the crazy one now?
You're not like them.
No. But I am caught in the same web. Tamamun zeshur kawe amana.
You're not a soldier now. You got a trophy.
And you?
I'm a dead man.
Konichet bachicho kunlekwa washakuri.
Hutje chana hutje. Hutje chana hutje.
Fakuma jaba dadi khabari kawe.
Sana poicham. Bumi America iri.
First Nations Canadian.
Ikalak torak moro kivek aula nearak tutel.
다시 고쳤지. 오나타.
I've actually seen that trailer a couple of times now, and it's amazing. I'm really, really excited to watch the film. What drew you to that film as the curator of the festival?
Well, Red Snow had actually opened our last festival when we were still doing live festivals. It was, a real honor and a privilege to screen that film. It's by an Indigenous woman, Marie Clements. It's, as you know, tells the story of a Canadian Indigenous soldier in Afghanistan. One thing I like about that film, and what I like about many of the international films we have at the festival, is how they tell stories that speak to very specific times and places, and about character relationships, and how they're influenced by those social contexts. And Red Snow does that. As many of the other international films that we've had, Red Snow is not an international film. It's directed by Marie Clements, who I have a lot of admiration for her as a director and as a performer. Marie Clements plays Hester in Bella Ciao.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful link that she is actually in the film, and she's a great actress as well. So and a great director.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah. What do you think women can be doing more of, and men? What do you think anyone could be doing more of to see more people, more women getting roles in film and television?
Well, we need to change our hiring practices and make sure our hiring practices are inclusive, both inclusive of women and a diversity of people. So in Canada, it's definitely the hiring practices that need to change, and our access to funding. Men can support those changes. Men can, and other people can write films that tell stories of real people. If you tell stories about your community, you're bound to include some women. So I think it's just being aware of the need to bring more women and diverse people into filmmaking, changing hiring practices, and writing stories about the real world.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I mentioned before we actually went live that I was actually quite lucky to go to one of the galas at Vancouver Women in Film and TV, and it was nice to see men there as well. I didn't expect, because I'd never been to one before, so it was nice to see men there supporting women, and I thought that was really nice that it is just this inclusive community. So yeah, that was really good. And yeah, so if anyone online, if anybody watching would like to know more about Bella Ciao, we will be putting links in the description, and we will be speaking to you all next week. Carolyn, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time with us, and we'll see everyone online next week.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. See you later.
Bye.